Hey everybody, what's going on? So just to kind of make this as quick as possible, I really just wanted to make this video to highlight the three builds that I'm currently running in the division. They are pretty good for what I have. I don't consider them to be the best builds in the world, but I do make a lot of montages. In those montages, I usually try to post a picture or a short clip of the build that I was running during the making of that video, and that usually warrants a lot of questions on the Reddit as to what my build is as far as in depth. So this video is not to brag or boast. It's really just so I can kind of have a reference point to give people, so that way I can stop uploading photos from Imgur or Imgur every time I want to show somebody, and I can definitely stop having to kind of type all of it out because that gets pretty old. So that being said, this first build here that I'm going to show you is the primary build that I've been running. It's a 4-piece Sentry and 2-piece Final Measure, 226 DPS, 473 Toughness, and 24 Skill Power. So this is probably my favorite build right now because of how tanky it is with the Sentry perks on the Deadly and Responsive SASG. It's just nasty. I run that gun primarily in the DZ. The actual build itself is extremely tough, and the exotic damage resilience is awesome, so I'm really glad that they introduced that set into 1.2. As far as my chest piece goes, we'll kind of get into it here. It's got really high armor on it. It's got first aid, self-heal, and 2 mod slots. I think that's awesome. In the 2 mod slots, I've got 155 firearms, and that's basically just so I can unlock all the weapon talents on the AUG. It's got 155 stamina. I can't really see that from here, maybe 158 stamina. I've got skill power on both of them, so that equals out to about an extra 3,000 skill power, which is really nice. I think that's vital. On the rest of the chest piece, I've got the first aid self-heal, which is really nice for me. 2 mod slots, armor and ammo capacity. So it's got almost max stamina, so that's nice. For the Final Measure mask, it's got smart cover duration and 2 mod slots on it. For the 2 mod slots, I can fit it with a little over 300 stamina, and again, almost another, a little over 3,000 skill power there. So that's 6,000 skill power added just between those 2 pieces. The smart cover duration is really awesome for me. I use a lot of smart cover in the dark zone. The increased kill XP is a bonus as well. It's if you end up getting killed by some rogues, you need to jump back up there to that, that 99 cap, at least I do. For the knee pads, they've got really great firearms on them, just barely below the cap again. The extra armor rolled onto them is really nice. 1163 armor for knee pads is very good to have. The skill attribute, sticky bomb explosion radius, that doesn't help me at all. It's not preferred, but I rolled the armor onto this knee pad, so I can't change that. I do have armor on the mod to help me hit 75%, and then again, I'm using stamina as the knee pads themselves are firearms. The holster, this is probably going to be the best holster I will ever find. Pulse critical hit damage on the skill attribute is a plus for me. It's got 11 under the firearms cap, 33 under the stamina cap, and it's got great electronics on it. I can't reroll any of those primary attributes because I changed a mod slot into armor for this holster. I feel like the armor that the holster is giving me is a lot better than the 150 stamina and whatever else I could have on the mod slot. At least it worked out for me here on this build. So it's going to be difficult to find holsters like this, but if you do, regardless of the kind, I would hold on to it just in case. The Final Measure gloves, for me, this is what I consider to be a god roll. It's 8 below the firearms cap, 0.3 below the critical hit chance cap. The SMG damage is near the cap. I'm not sure what that is. And then it's 1% below the critical hit damage cap. It's got maximum first aid self-heal, and again, it's got some really good armor on it. So these gloves are amazing to me, and that's pretty much what sparked the 2-piece Final Measure build for me. And finally, for the backpack, this is also the better of the pieces of gear that I have. It's got the first aid self-heal, and again, it's got the smart cover duration, so the smart cover lasts for a while in the DZ. The skill power, I think, is a must on the backpack. The highest you can get up here is 6780. The striker pack you see below here, I'll get into that in a minute. It's got 19 points below the skill cap, but this thing rolled with pretty high armor anyways. and it's got very good stamina on it. So the 150 I have here on the stamina mod is taking me to pretty high stamina for only one mod, but actually it's got 672, so that's 6 points below the stamina cap. I know a lot of people are going to say that the AUG has boosted DPS because of the Vicious talent. It's not wrong, but a lot of people are going to, trash talk and say, oh, well, it should be around 200,000 or 190, 195. So before I go any further, I'd just like to cut that off right here. So I'll go ahead and take some damage here from a grenade. Thank you, final measure. And 213 DPS is what I come out with, so it's a 13,000 reduction in DPS. Go ahead and hit myself again here and show you the first aid self-heal. So that's 2.5 health bars. 2.5 bars or segments of HP is what I got off of that, and that capped me out without running in and out of the heals even once. So 58,000 self-heal there, and as far as DPS go, 65,000 critical hit damage and 65% critical hit damage and 28% crit chance. So one pulse on this build is enough to easily make up for that loss in DPS there. So I'm going to go ahead and move on here to my DPS build. This is a Reckless chest that I'm putting on. So this is Reckless, 3 Striker, and 2 Sentry. Of course, with the Reckless chest here, you do take an increased 10% damage, but the DPS buff that I get is incredible for me, 13.5k on the bullet damage. Again, we'll go ahead and test out what it does whenever Vicious is removed due to taking damage. 280. So 280 DPS, 400 toughness, and 21 skill power. I'll take it. On the chest itself, we have health and armor. Health isn't really the greatest roll, I don't think, but I couldn't re-roll that for a second mod slot. The armor on it is excellent. It's got pretty good stamina. I'm not sure what the cap on a 204 is, maybe 250 something, so it's got pretty close to the cap. It's also got first aid self-heal, which is great, and I put armor on there to help me hit 75 a little better. 1736 armor on the chest piece is incredible. So also for the major attribute, if I could change it to something else, I would, but the additional health, it does help with the toughness. So for the Striker mask, the minor attribute and the skill attribute are pretty garbage. I wouldn't recommend going for those, but so far the mask has done me well, so I'll keep it. It's got 24 below the stamina cap, which is nice, and then again I put another 300 stamina on there and another 3,000 skill power. I prefer that on my mask. So I know Marco Style says that best in slot on a mask is 1 mod slot and additional skill power, but for my builds I prefer to go for the second mod slot. So the Striker knee pads are a huge selling point for me. They're 3 below the firearms cap, which is great. It's got the additional armor on it. I put on the extra health here. None of my other mods can actually help me hit any higher stats, so that's fine. The shock resistance and the increased kill XP are great, but the support station healing speed is not the best skill attribute, so I wouldn't really focus on that. The holster is the same as before. That didn't change. The Sentry Call gloves are, again, one of my favorite rolls. It's got 1.3 below the critical hit chance cap. It's got pretty good SMG damage, 2% below the critical hit damage cap, 4 points below the firearms cap, and it's got even better armor than my final measure gloves. I re-rolled this for critical hit damage, so I can't change sticky bomb damage. I wish I could, but that again is just another flaw in the build. The critical hit damage actually cost me quite a bit to roll to finally hit that, so I don't know if I'll be increasing that since I don't use this build that much, but so far this is what I have. And finally, the backpack. This backpack is 34 firearms below the cap. It's got 19 points of skill power below the cap, so it's got 67, 61, and you can have 67, 80. This has got first aid, ally heal, and pulse duration. The pulse duration is pretty nice. If I could change the ally heal to self heal, I would. I'd be selfish to do so, but then again, this is a reckless build, so the more I can help myself out, that's nice. And then for the mod slot, I've got the additional armor on it here. which I don't actually need, I think. Yeah, so I can change that over to health and gain some toughness. I knew I had over 400, so yeah, so for this build, 304 DPS, 402 toughness, and 21 skill power, just rounding out. For the amount of damage that I can actually do with this build, I'll go ahead and test that out and show you. 85,000 crit damage, almost 86,000 crit damage with a pulse that almost hits 118,000. So that's not too bad. I know that a lot of people can probably hit better than that with lesser builds or even 182 AUGs. You know, that's just the beauty of this game with the talents and whatnot. So, alright, so on to the 3 Striker and 3 Sentry. Basically, it's just a combination of all the pieces that I have already shown you here, except I change firearms off of the Sentry build because I don't need it to hit the brutal cap there. And I come out with almost 270,000 DPS, 417,000 toughness, and 23,000 skill power even. That's actually pretty interesting. So, and it doesn't look like there's anything I can change to fix that. So again, you've already seen the pieces here and the rolls on all of this. So if you want to test or if you want to check it out, you can go back through the video. The self-heal cap here is about 10,000 less than it was on my original build. However, I've also got a lot less health with the toughness decrease here. So in terms of how that scales, it probably heals me the same. And my critical hit damage and critical hit chance are actually the same on this build, minus about 1% than they were on the first build. So the amount of DPS that I can do with a pulse active is a lot more than 268,000. The critical hit damage here is 75,000. That's about 9,000 less than it was on the reckless piece, 10,000 less. And as far as with the pulse, it goes up to 104, so that's about 13,000 less than it was on the reckless. So you can kind of see there how much reckless really boosts you. Oh yeah, we'll go ahead and test this out. 247,000 DPS. Another thing that I want to kind of comment on is people are going to say, oh, you know, I did the math here. He was able to hit that high of DPS on his builds because he's, you know, stacking accuracy on his AUG. Yes, I do actually have some mods on here that give me additional accuracy. I have, let's see here. So I've got accuracy on the muzzle, and then I've got hipfire accuracy and accuracy on the underbarrel. The reason I run this attachment, if you watch any of my videos on my channel, is because I do hipfire a lot. But also, I don't run marksman rifles that much in the DZ, and I definitely don't use auto rifles. So I enjoy the fact that I can accurately shoot this gun at long range. So I'm going to do some testing here. I'm going to show you how I can hit the target furthest in the back and then the one to the left with the additional accuracy, and then I'm going to do it without the accuracy. Again, I don't consider myself to be the best aimer in the world on a console, but I do pride myself in how well I can aim. So this is basically the ability to shoot the target in the head from outside of the SMG's optimal range with the accuracy on it. I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to no accuracy whatsoever on either of these attachments here. We'll go to stability and horizontal stability. I'll take this one here, stability and initial bullet stability. So my reticle here is going to be aiming at the target a lot more than it was before. I mean, it does jump around a little bit, but as far as the spray pattern of the bullets, you can see those leaving the target. You can see a lot of those numbers pop up white because even though I'm aiming at the head, they are falling downward and they're hitting the chest. So if I go back over here to the accuracy mod on both of these, and I kind of go through those one more time and show you, we'll see how many white numbers actually pop up here compared to how many were, because the bullets are actually hitting the area that I'm aiming at. So when I'm in the DZ and, you know, people are at that distance and they're doing whatever it is that, you know, that they're shooting me with, I'm able to shell out a lot more damage, especially as they're moving, than I would be if I wasn't. This is also the reason I prefer the AUG over the Vector, because that thing just has terrible freaking accuracy. It's all over the place. Alright, so again here, just to recap, 4-piece Sentry, 2-piece Final Measure. That build will net me, let's see here. Oh, we gotta switch back over to the stamina, or firearms mod rather. So that build nets me 226,000 DPS, 473,000 toughness, and 24,000 skill power. This is the main build that I run here. So if you want to go back and check out the Reckless build at over 300,000 DPS, 400,000 toughness, and 21,000 skill power, I think. This build has 118,000 max HP. If I switch over to 75% armor mitigation, it literally just takes my toughness to 474,000, so another 500% or 500 toughness flat. Shotgun here is pretty nasty up close. I can't actually mark this target, so I can't show you, but you get the picture. Anyways, yeah, so the Reckless build, 300,000 DPS, 400,000 toughness, 20,000 skill power, and 3 striker, 3 sentry at about 270 DPS, 417 toughness, and 23,000 skill power. So again, you can play this video back and check out the rolls, but I hope you liked it. If not, sorry about your luck.